But the neat thing about it is that it's really transparent to NATs. It goes right through NATs and firewalls in a way that SIP doesn't. Now, most of the time these days, EX2 is actually used just to network together systems of asterisks. So if you're building a cluster of asterisks, it's a really nice shorthand way of building that network between them. It's not nearly as universally accepted as SIP, but it does have its place. There's actually an RFC for it and everything. Here you see the Skype protocol. Now, Skype is not a native protocol in Asterisk because Skype isn't a real protocol. It's whatever the Skype guys have got inside that black box. But they were kind enough to work with us to allow an add-on module that can be installed in Asterisk that will let you bridge into the 5 or 6 or 7 or however many 100 million people that are on the Skype network. So if you're looking to add Skype capabilities to your existing communications infrastructure, if you want customers to be able to call into you over Skype, or if you have some reason to be able to, or some need to make calls out to people who are on Skype, Asterisk will let you do that with the installation of this additional Skype module. Over here on the far right, you'll see sort of a different type of driver. This is actually the DOTI, or Digium Asterisk Hardware Device Interface driver. And DOTI driver actually talks to the Linux kernel drivers for the cards you see there that actually allow you to hook up Asterisk directly to the phone network. So if you're going to be building a system that needs to tie into the PSTN, either so you can do 911 calls to the local 911, or if that's the type of phone lines that you already have and your customer or you don't want to replace those, this is what you'll need. So you'll need a computer that's got a PCI slot or a PCI Express slot so you can actually install that, but Asterisk will be able to communicate with that as well. So those were the just a very small subset of the driver sort of I/O channel modules that we've got. On the bottom, we've got a number of other modules, and I'll kind of go through these quickly because I'm again up against beer on the other side. But call detail records, or CDRs, are call history. So you want a record of all the calls that are made through your system. Asterisk actually keeps that, writes it into a text file by default, but you're able to load other drivers so it can write that into MySQL or Postgres or through ODBC into really just about any type of database. It can post them to a web service. So you've got a number of different call detail capture drivers that you can run. Next over here you see codecs. Those are compression and decompression modules that are used for implementing different encoding and decoding algorithms for voice and video. So when you set up a call between a phone and an Asterisk system, or between two phones through an Asterisk system, you're going to have to negotiate out the sort of language that those are going to use to talk to each other, the way of encoding and decoding audio. And Asterisk supports just about every known codec out there. There's all of the most common things that you would find on the internet, and certainly everything you'd find installed in most typical telephony hardware is supported. So you're able to take Asterisk and put it in between things which use different codecs, and Asterisk acts as a bridge between them. And that's dynamic or modular, so if there's a new codec that comes along, we can just plug that in as well. Format drivers do basically the same kind of thing, but for file formats. So you can store audio data or video in WAV files or GSM files, or really any sort of container format that you might want. We've probably got half a dozen different container formats supported right now. If there's something else that you need or want, it's open source, so you can take the format drivers that we've got, amend it to fit what you need, and on you go. Sort of the basic value prop of open source. And configuration drivers. So by default, Asterisk, like most other open source tools, reads its configuration from text files, config files. But we also have a lot of people who want to have dynamic configurations that are run out of a database or off of an LDAP server or off of some kind of web service. So we've built in a number of different drivers that let people connect up to those sorts of services and actually pull in their configuration. So instead of having a list of all of the different users on your system at extension 101, Steve Sokol, extension 102, et cetera, in a text file, that can be stored in a database, or it can even be a view coming out of your existing ERP system or CRM system or whatever system you need to tie Asterisk into. Now, the real point of this whole set of slides here isn't exactly what all these modules do, but how modular the internals of Asterisk are. So if you decide that there's something that you want it to do that it isn't doing today, all you have to do is take one of the existing modules, figure out the interface that we're using there, and you can build a module that does exactly what you need. And so thousands of people have, and hundreds of those have been contributed back to us. So if you look through Asterisk, there's, I think, over 130 modules that make up the system. So there's a number of other components. Asterisk actually has a command line interface, which makes it fairly easy to manage Asterisk from the Linux CLI. So you can just simply connect up to it. It gives you access to real-time information. It'll tell you what's going on in your Asterisk system. And it lets you execute commands for either displaying data or altering the configuration. Fairly straightforward. And of course, it's convenient because in order to administer an Asterisk system that's running just the default CLI, all you need to have is SSH. Just log into the box, go into the CLI, and you can manage almost all the configuration from there. Asterisk actually has a number of other components that are pretty important. Applications and functions are the things that actually make up the verbs within the dial plan language. So there are applications and functions that do very simple things like answer the phone or hang up the phone. And then there are applications and functions which go much deeper. You'll see things in there like a completely encapsulated voicemail system that's all been written as an Asterisk module. A conference bridge that's been written as an Asterisk module. So you have things that are very simple commands that you can string together in the typical Unix way to kind of build the exact solution you want. And there are some things that are a bit more monolithic, but that offer really some fairly advanced services. I can't go through all of the stuff that we've got applications and functions for, but in general, they break down into things like call control. So answering the phone, redirecting a call, disconnecting a call, playing and recording audio and video, so being able to stream media in and out of the system, collecting caller input. That can be either touch tones or it can be voice if you've got a voice recognition engine coming into it. Mixing audio streams together. So if you're going to build a conferencing server, it can actually mix the audio together and it can actually handle audio coming in at different bit rates from different devices and handles all the sort of conferencing capabilities. Core phone system features that people have added over the years. So we've got built-in parking and pickup. We've got music on hold. We've got a lot of the sort of subcomponents that you'd expect in a typical business phone system. Managing call history data, so all of the stuff that underlies the call detail records makes up part of the core of Asterisk. And then generating and detecting tones and managing call-related information, caller ID, the called number, so you know what application to run in response to what's called a DID that's coming in from the outside. So this really gives you the rich tool set that you need if you're going to build your own communication solution based on Asterisk. And again, that's why it's considered more of an engine than it is considered, quote-unquote, a PBX out of the gate. So, oh, there we go. At the heart of Asterisk is the dial plan. And this is the set of scripted instructions that actually tell Asterisk what to do in response to an incoming call, in response to digits that are dialed during a call. And that's where you actually invoke the applications and the functions that are really the building blocks of Asterisk. The dial plan is loaded into a configuration file by default. It's called extensions.conf. And what you're really doing is programming by defining an extension number, and then saying what actions and functions take place in response to calls that are directed to that extension by somebody picking up the phone and dialing it. If you really want to get started in Asterisk foo, most people start out by building a very simple system with a lot of dial plan expertise put into it. So you'll spend some time learning the applications and functions and the slightly weird syntax that makes up the dial plan language, and within a fairly short period of time, you'll have a fully functioning phone system that can do about 90% of what people want. Now, if you want to go outside of that, there are a number of additional interfaces that are available, including the Asterisk Manager interface. We call that AMI. And it is a socket-based interface that lets you connect up to Asterisk and execute very simple commands. It's really just a telnet plus some command sets that we've put together that let you pipe in commands and receive responses from the system. And it does two things. One, it provides command and control capabilities. So you can tell Asterisk to redirect a call from this extension to that extension, to disconnect that call. You can also use it as a means of monitoring activity that's going on the Asterisk system. So you're able to watch an extension, and you can see when a call arrives there, and you can respond. You can pop things up on somebody's desktop. You can display the picture of the current speaker in a multi-party conference. So you've got the ability to respond to events that are taking place within Asterisk. And again, this is really built for access from scripting interfaces as much as anything else. We've got people who've built lots and lots and lots of powerful stuff using Perl or PHP, Python, and of course it's still accessible to all sorts of lower level languages and more complex languages. So there's actually Java bindings for it. So you can really go a long way with that. There's one other interface that I don't have a slide for in this deck. I forgot to put it in. But that's called the Asterisk Gateway Interface. So anybody who remembers doing CGI programming for web stuff, this is the same concept that applies to telephony programming. Asterisk will basically let you give it commands, and it will give you information back coming in and out over standard in and standard out. And we, of course, have implemented that as the traditional CGI method with direct standard in and out. And then we've also created fast AGI, which is the same thing over sockets. Between fast AGI, manager interface, and the core dial plan, people have built some absolutely amazing applications out of Asterisk, all without ever going down into the core C code of the program. Of course, because it's open source, you still have the option to do that. So, a little bit about how calls work through Asterisk. The way Asterisk sees the world, everything is an incoming call to it. So, you're going to write applications and functions that respond to, whoops, right. There we go. There. To calls that are coming into Asterisk. So there you see a call coming into Asterisk from one of the phones that's on the local network. Now Asterisk will receive that call and it'll figure out what to do with it. It could be that it's going to handle it internally. It's going to open up the voicemail system and it's going to play files back and forth between the system and the phone. And that interaction will never go any further. It's also possible, though, that that is a call that's destined to go outside to the outside world, in which case Asterisk will then create another call leg that goes out from there. So it sees the initiation of everything as this, an incoming call. Same thing is true from the PSTN and the internet. So Asterisk is sitting there waiting for calls to come in, and it responds to events. And then it allows you to sort of drive on from there. I guess the one exception to this is that you're able to actually generate outbound calls, which drives some people absolutely nuts because they receive those outbound calls coming in at 2 in the morning on their home phone line. So if you're going to do an outbound application on Asterisk, please be kind. Please don't drive people nuts with it, because they write to the Asterisk people, and those wind up in my inbox, and I've got to call and apologize on behalf of somebody I don't know who's abusing Asterisk. But that's the way calls flow in general. To go through kind of a little more specific example, here you see a phone on the left-hand side that we've labeled ABC. Now, the identifiers that you give to phones, or any other device that you're going to hook up, can be whatever you want them to be. A lot of companies use MAC addresses, but you can call them, Bob, Charlie, John, whatever you want. You'll also see that this device has an extension number. The one on the left is 100, 101 over here on the right. Now, one bit of advice I'll give you is never use the extension number for a phone as the SIP identifier for that phone. Anybody want to guess why? Yeah, everybody knows that. So when there are hackers out there on the internet trying to hack your system, the first thing they're going to do is go, hey, can I talk to somebody at extension 100? Oh, no, we don't have an extension 100. We've got an extension 1000. Thanks. Click. 1000, let me in. And they'll start hacking away. And we've seen that time and again. So our recommendation is never actually set up the SIP devices using the extension number as the identifier. But what you're going to see is the phone on the left is going to make a call to the phone on the right. Not very exciting, but here's the process that it goes through. It goes off hook. Somebody picks it up, dials 101. It sends a SIP message to the SIP channel driver in Asterisk, which intercepts it and goes, hey, somebody's trying to dial 101. Let's see who they are first. So it looks up the configuration for that phone on the left.